Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to NBC News Channel 13's 13 Now, your own personalized YouTube newscast. I'm your friendly neighborhood anchor, Steve Coos, here to break down some of the top stories that we're chasing here in the capital region for you tonight. If you've never been to 13 Now, your first-time viewer, welcome. Glad you're here. Pull up a chair, enjoy. Here's how it works. I'm going to read three of our top stories and tease some other the good stuff we got coming up later on in our newscast at 9 and 11. Anyway, let's get into it. Our top story we're following is some breaking news out of Fulton County. Looks like we're dealing with a murder-suicide in the town of Perth. Now, we do have a team that's been dispatched to the scene. We're trying to get some information about what is exactly unfolding here. Here's what we know right now, according to authorities. Police say they're dealing with what appears to be a murder-suicide involving a husband and wife. These are two people who are in their mid-70s, so there might have been some underlying situation for the murder-suicide here. The bodies, we're told, of Guy Lawrence and Barbara Lawrence were both found in the backyard of a Voorhees Road home in the town of Perth. Investigators do tell us that a handgun was found near the body of Mr. Guy Lawrence. Again, this is a developing situation. We got our reporter, Dan Levy. He's headed out here to the town of Perth to try to talk to some neighbors, some family, friends, just to figure out what was going on. I'm a veteran of the news business for about 2 decades now, and when we deal with situations involving murders, suicides with couples who are in their late 70s like this, sometimes it's a situation where you have somebody who's very, very sick, and one person doesn't want to leave without the other. Other times it's a situation where there's just been a lot of anger and frustration between the couple for many years. Don't know what the situation for this murder-suicide in Fulton County is, but again, we got a team out there trying to get some answers. We'll bring that to you coming up here on 9 o'clock, our 9 o'clock newscast on the My 4 channel, and also at 11 on News Channel 13. The other big story we're chasing right now, the New York State Board of Elections in Albany had to be evacuated today. They got a suspicious letter in the mail, and if you know anything about these stories where we talk about suspicious letters coming, it might not come as a surprise to you that this letter had some kind of white powdery substance inside. That is a major red flag and a big scare for the folks who are working down in the New York State Board of Elections. This is specifically the Albany office on 40 North Pearl Street. We're told by officials that today around 3 p.m., they received a letter. Somebody opened it up. They found a white powdery substance inside. It kind of hails back to many, many years ago when envelopes with poison anthrax were being sent around. Well, now we just get a lot of these cases where it's more like copycats, where people just put baking soda or something in there. Hopefully that was the case. Hopefully this is not a serious, deadly substance that was opened up at the Albany, the State Board of Elections there in New York. State officials tell us they immediately contacted law enforcement and temporarily evacuated the entire area. The board tells us it does appear to be part of what they're calling a pattern of potentially threatening mail being sent to election offices across the country. So that white powdery substance found in that letter has now been turned over to the FBI. We're just about 50 days out from the 2024 presidential election coming up on November 5th. And hopefully this is not a sign of things to come, folks, because, that's intimidation. You're trying to frighten election workers. You're trying to maybe throw some sway over an electoral process you might not believe in. It's pretty scary when you think that that's what's coming here in our country. That's what things are coming down to now. Anyway, hopefully they catch whoever is responsible, because that's just, it's illegal and dangerous. Other story we're following for you here. This involving, if you watched us last night, we were talking about this unfortunate Lyft driver. Guy here in the city of Troy goes to pick up two people. He's driving them to a location. All of a sudden, one of the passengers of this Lyft driver says, "Oh, pull over here, stop. I got to go meet some friends." Passenger runs out of the car. Gunshots are heard. Passenger with a bullet wound to his gut runs back into the car, starts bleeding all over the place in this Lyft driver's vehicle. This is what it looked like. And there's this massive blood spot. Now, thankfully, the Lyft passenger was able to, get to the hospital thanks to the Lyft driver. The Lyft driver said, both the passengers were screaming at him to bring him to the hospital. They were forcing him after this gunfire broke out. It was a pretty frightening situation. Police are still investigating that shooting over in Troy that led to this passenger being shot. The story with the Lyft driver is he has this gross, just massive blood stain in the back of his car that he was being quoted $3,800 to have cleaned up, because this isn't just, red paint. This is somebody's blood all over his seat. It was soaked in deep to the cushions. That's a biohazard that most people won't clean up. Most cleaning companies won't handle without charging you some extra fees, because they got to get in there with the proper safety equipment and medical equipment to clean it up. Well, the Lyft driver, we're told, has been getting reimbursed from Lyft, the company themselves. They say they're going to try to cover all the costs so he can get back up and running and earning money through their ride share service. Lyft also says, we reached out to them, say they are standing ready to help law enforcement with any situation they might need. Lyft also saying that they've canceled the accounts of those 2 passengers who got into that dangerous, very dangerous situation where one of them ended up being shot and needed to go to the hospital suddenly. So, pretty crazy story. We're going to have a lot more on that, as well as a few other things we're tackling for you here tonight on NBC News Channel 13. Again, we are going to be back in about 11 minutes now on the My 4 station here in the Capital Region. That's Channel 9 for you. And then we're going to be back 90 minutes after that at 11 o'clock on NBC. So hopefully we'll see you there. If not, I get it. It's a late night. You don't want to stay up too late. You got work early in the morning. Get some rest. But if not, you don't want to. You want to hang out with us, I promise it's going to be fun. So hopefully we'll see you then. Have a good night.